Hi, this is Ikenke from Blue Steel Auto School again. Today we're going to focus on keeping your car centered in your lane. You know, how to stay straight. And I have discussed this in other videos, but we're going to, kind of focus more on it today. So, I mean, a lot of it just has to do with knowing when your steering wheel is straight, knowing when the car is actually moving straight, and looking where you want to go. Right? You have to make sure you look where you're, just like when you're walking. You know, you can't expect to walk forward and you're staring down at the ground, or you stare to the side for too long, because you tend to go where you look. Right? So if you want to go straight, you have to look straight. That's first and foremost. Whatever lane you're in, you're sitting on the left side of the vehicle. Remember that. You're not sitting in the middle of the vehicle. Right? The driver here in the U.S. for the most part sits on the left side. Some countries you sit on the right side, but I'm talking about vehicles made for the U.S. Right? So you sit on the left side. You're closer to the left side. So you want to actually feel like you're a little closer to the left side of whatever lane you're in. Right? Now it's a fine line. You don't want to be too far to the left, right? Because then you're going to be exiting your lane. Right? So there's usually a line next to your lane if it's a multi-lane street. For some one-lane, one-way streets, there might not be a line, but you find the middle of the road. Right? For the most part in New York, not for every single street, but for most streets in New York, there's a set of manholes that go right down the middle of the street. Right, so if it's a one-lane street, one lane, right, not a two-lane street, either two lanes in the same direction or two lanes in opposite directions. You don't want to be in the middle of a road like that. But if it's a one-lane street, you want to be in the center. How do you know where the center is? For the most part, there's a set of manholes that go right down the center. Right? If it's two lanes, then you get into your lane, and then you stay closer to the left side, because you can judge the left side easier than you can judge the right side. Right? You're sitting on the left side, so it's easier for you to see if you're going to hit something on the left side than on the right side. All right? So I'm going to flip the camera around, and we're going to discuss the wheel quickly. I'm going to show how you can use the mirror to peek. You don't want to stare in the mirror. Again, you have to look where you want to go. But you do have to scan. We discussed that before. You have to scan while you're driving. So most of your attention should be down the road, but not 100%. Every once in a while, you do have to check your mirrors. You have to check your blind spot. You have to check your speedometer. Right? You have to look around from time to time. But anytime you take your eyes off the road, it should be quick. Split second. Look back, quick. Right? Don't stare. Right? So I'm gonna discuss some of these things with you. Right? So right now, I'll flip the camera right here. Alright, so this is the steering wheel, which we discussed before. Right? For this car, you have the controls on either side, and you have this big spoke right here that has the airbag sign. Right? So you have the airbag sign here. Right? You also have the horn here. So this is the bottom of the wheel. Right? I'm gonna try to come out a little bit. All right. So this is the bottom of the wheel. This is how the wheel looks when it's centered. Right? So if you turn the wheel now the wheels are not centered. Remember, this controls your front wheels. So if I turn the wheel like this, now the car is gonna go in that direction. If I turn the wheel like this, the car is gonna go in that direction. So for the most part, you want your wheel like this when you're trying to go straight. Now, the other thing to understand is that the road isn't perfectly flat, right? They can't make the road perfectly. So there's little fixed waves, just like a boat in the ocean. There's fixed waves in the road, so the road will have little dips and little tilts and things like that. And so you have to be able to adjust for those. All right. So just like a boat in the ocean, the waves will push the boat around unless you continue to point the car straight. So if you just leave the car to its own devices, the road's going to push the car off track. So you have to be one with the car, literally. You have to be able to feel when the car is going off track. And then you just do little tiny adjustments. You don't want to be going like this, because then the car is going to be swerving all over the place. So if you feel the car leaning to the left, just do a little slight tap to the right, and vice versa. Just little teeny, barely noticeable adjustments. Nobody else should know except for you, right? But you have to constantly do little corrections to keep the car straight, to adjust for what the road is trying to do for the car. All right, and then you have the line here. If you look in the mirror right there, right? And I'm purposely doing this at night because I know some people have a hard time seeing at night. So I want you to know, I mean, for some people, they really just need glasses, or they need some anti-glare glasses, right? But if you look here, there's a white line in the middle of the mirror, right next to the car. And the way to deal with bright lights at night is not to look directly at them, right? So if you're driving on a two-way street and you see, a car with their high beams coming towards you, you don't stare at the lights, right? Right? You have to look away from the lights, right? All right. So now you see. So this is what can happen at night when the cars are coming. You see the lights blink. So don't keep looking. You don't keep looking in the mirror if it's bothering you, right? If you look somewhere else, right? We're up a little bit. There's like a double parked car behind us, and there's another car coming. So you see the light is getting bright, but then once they disappear, you'll be able to see the line more clearly, right? So you see this white line here, right? You should be maybe a little closer to the line than this when you're actually moving. I'm sitting still, right? And again, you don't want to stare at it. You just want to peek at it and make sure that you can you know where you are in relation to the line, right? And this is a one-way. It happens to be a one-lane street. They have a bike lane on the other side. They have the park lane marked off. It's not always like this, right? So I'm actually in the parking lane, and I'm sitting next to the line that separates the travel lane from the parking lane, right? But this is just an example. When you're in your lane, you should be close to the line on the left side. And if you're on a two-way street, the line's going to be yellow, more than likely double, right? It's still the line on the left side, right? That's how you know that you're straight. If you start moving away from the line, if you start getting further from the line, then you know something's wrong, right? So now we're going to start actually moving. Alright, so now I'm going to leave my parking space. Gear, signal, wheel, as you guys are familiar with me saying. Gear, signal, wheel. And then I check my mirror and my blind spot, and I come out. Okay, so now you see there's the bike lane here. So I went around the car in front of me. I left the parking lane. I'm in the travel lane. I want to be next to the bike lane in this case, not in the bike lane. Right, and you can tell when you go over. Now I'm in the bike lane. Right, see the hood of my car? Now if I come back out where I'm supposed to be, right, you want to trace the line. Remember when you were younger and they would give you a picture and all you had to do was trace around the edges? You want to trace the line. Right? So now I'm going to make this left turn here and switch to a different street. And you remember how I make my turns? L-shape, mirror to curve, one circle, nobody's coming. And I'm gonna come around and get right next to the bike lane. Not in the bike lane, next to the bike lane, right? So this is another one-lane street with a bike lane, right? So I'm staying next to the bike lane, and I don't want to swerve. If I go away from the bike lane, you should feel that. You see how the car started going off to the side? If I come back this way, you should feel that. You you don't want your movements, if you're trying to stay straight, you don't want your movements to be, that pronounced, right? You have to do little tiny adjustments to stay straight, right? But very tiny. I call them micro adjustments, right? Very tiny movements of the wheel, just to counteract when the road, pushes the car around, right? If the car is staying straight by itself, don't turn the wheel for no reason. Only turn the wheel to get the car to maintain its course, or the course that you want, right? Okay? So the light's changing, and you remember where we stopped when the line disappears. So once you can't see that line, you stop, right? You see how the line disappeared, and I stopped, right? You don't want to go all the way in the crosswalk. You should still be able to see the crosswalk, right? And I mentioned that in other videos. Okay? I'm going to try to go to a two-way street to demonstrate. So we're just waiting on the light. But you see how if you look in the right place, now you don't want to stare at the line, like I said. You should know where the line is, but most of your attention is down the road. But even at night, they purposely use reflective paint, right? So even at night, you can see the line. I'm gonna make this left here. It's a two-way street coming up. So I'm gonna put on my signal. Alright. I'm staying next to the bike lane until I reach the middle. Alright, now I'm in the middle and there are pedestrians crossing, so I have to wait for the pedestrians. A bike just went by me. Now I'm gonna go around the yellow line and get right next to the yellow line, right? And if you notice, there's a bike lane on my right side, but I want to purposely stay closer to my left side, right? So you see how the line is the same distance from my car as I go down the road, right? It shouldn't be. So now I'm on the line, now I'm off the line. You don't want to be swerving like that, right? As you're going down the road, you should see, and you follow the line as far down the road as you can, right? You look as far down as you can, and that helps you stay straight. And every once in a while you can peek in your mirror, and as I demonstrated earlier, peek in your mirror and see where the line is, right? So I'm just gonna go a little further, and you just make sure that distance between you and the line stays the same. Now these two people are jaywalking. I'll let them go by. Alright. And now in this case, I have double parked cars. I have to go signal and look and go over the line. It's better to touch the line than touch the cars. But as soon as you pass the cars, you get right back in your position. Alright? And you look down the road and you make sure of that space. Look at the car in front of me. You see how they're right next to the line? That's how you want to be. You want to be, a foot or so from the line, and that's it. You don't want to be on the line. You don't want to be too far from the line. Alright? So we're going to stop right here. The light's changing. So I hope that puts you at ease. Of course, it's gonna take a little practice, but obviously it's not impossible. Look in the right place. You have to have a sense of your surroundings. You have to understand the wheel, which we discussed earlier, right? And if you turn the wheel, the car is gonna turn, so you have to understand what you're doing with that. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. And this is Ikenke from Blue Steel Auto School signing off. Please like, comment, subscribe, request notifications. All right. And I hope to see you shortly. Take care.